Hi there. Many of us might use Excel every day and perhaps never used Excel's power tools. These are Power Query, Data Model, Power Pivot, and DAX, Data Analysis Expressions. I want to show you a quick guide on how to answer questions about, for example, quantity, orders, revenue, or how to find out top 10 cities by revenue when your data is scattered in different sources. My sales transaction data is in SQL Server database. Information about products is stored in CSV file, and customer geography is in a PDF document. This is the report or dashboard that we'll end up with. You have orders by category, monthly revenue, quantity by category, revenue by city, and you have even slicer that can drill down the information for specific country. If I click Germany, the charts will adjust to show only data related to Germany. If I click Netherlands, again, I have revenue by city in Netherlands. All right, let's dive in. We'll start by loading data from SQL Server database. We need to know the server name and the database name. Okay, click OK. The Power Query will load tables in the database. We have one table called sales. We click Transform Data. Once the Power Query editor opens, we'll first check the name of the query. We need to have descriptive name. Then we'll make sure that our first row was promoted to headers, which is true in this case. Next, we'll check the data types. We have order ID, whole number, line item, decimal number. We can change it to whole number. Order date is date data type. That's good. Geo ID, whole number, product ID, whole number, quantity, whole number. This will be all okay. This is important step. You need to close and load to, and we'll only create connection to the data and add this data to the data model. This is important because thanks to this, our workbook will be lightweight because the data are not stored directly in the workbook. There is just connection to them. We have query sales. We'll continue with the CSV file, and I have the products file here, import, and again we'll go to transform data. First we check the name, that's okay. First row was promoted to headers. Data types, product ID number, product name text, unit price. We can change it to currency. We can replace the current step. Category ID, whole number, category text. This looks okay. Again, close and load to. We need to make only connection. Add this data to the data model. Okay. Loaded 2,500 rows. Finally, we need to load the PDF file. We'll click from File, from PDF. We'll go and click the Customer Geo. And now Power Query will offer these four options or these four items. First two are tables. Because we have two pages in the document, there are two tables, and these are snapshots of the document. Again, split it to two pages. We will click on the entire folder and click Transform Data. Once the Power Query editor opens, we'll make sure that we have a proper name. Hit Enter. And then we don't need the snapshots. So we'll deselect page 1 and page 2. We only need the tables. We need to click this double arrow and click OK to load the data. Now, as we have selected these three columns, we can right click and click remove other columns because we don't need these ID, name, or kind. we only need these 3 columns. As you can see, our first row wasn't promoted to headers, so we'll click Use First Row as Headers in the Home tab. And again, check the data types. We have whole number, text, text. This looks good, and we can close and load to data model. Only connection, add this data to the data model. One more thing we need is the calendar table, because when you are using data model, it's good to have one dedicated calendar table, and we can use the sales table to create a calendar table. We'll right click in queries and connections and click duplicate. We will change the name to calendar, hit enter, and we'll click the order date, right click, remove other columns because we only need the dates. We can rename it to date, and in the home tab in reduce rows we will remove duplicates to only have consecutive dates from start to finish. Okay, and now we can add another columns from this date column that we'll need in our analysis. And when we have the date column selected, we can go to the tab Add Column, and here on the right side from Date and Time group, we can click Date, click Year. We have a year extracted from our date column. We need to select again the date column, and we will add start of month. We can add some more, let's say week of year. We always need to select the original date because if we had other columns selected, it would create the date column from this selected column. So always go back to the date or original column that you are using for your work. And finally, let's add name of day. This looks okay. I don't need anything else. We go back to the home, close and load to, and only create connection. It's already pre-selected. Hit OK, and Power Query has loaded 1618 rows. Alright, our work with Power Query is finished. We'll now go to Data Model. In Data, you have a Data Model icon. Click this. It will open another window. You have Data Model and your 4 tables. But what we need to do now is to create relationships between these tables. And we will do it in this diagram view, where you have all these 4 tables as a visual. And what I like to do is have our transaction data or sales data down below. Here on the top, we will have products, customer geography, and calendar table that we just created. We take the product ID and drag it to the product ID in the sales table, and data model will create one-to-many relationship with unidirectional filtering. This means that there is only one unique value in this lookup table, while there can be many values in the sales table because one product can be sold multiple times. Okay, I will now drag the geo ID to the sales ID or the geo ID in sales table, and finally date to the order date. We are done with the data model. We can just close. All right. Once all our relationships are defined in our data model, we can start inserting the pivot tables. We'll go to Insert Pivot Table, and we'll make sure to use the Verbooks data model, and we'll place the pivot table in new worksheet. We'll turn off the grid lines and we can start exploring the data we have. For example, We can look at categories and uh, explore the quantity. We'll see how much quantity we sold in each category. This is actually the only quantitative field that we can analyze in this dataset. And so far, we'll add some more using DAX. You can filter the data, for example, click Germany, OK, and you have quantity in Germany only. We can format these numbers with 1000 separator. All right. Next, we need to find out how many orders we have and also how much revenue are we getting. For this, we need to use DAX, the data analysis expressions. You need to go to Power Pivot. If you don't see Power Pivot, you need to go to File, Options, Add-ins, Manage COM add-ins, click Go, and make sure that you will have this Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel checked. Click OK, and you should now see the Power Pivot tab. Here in Calculations, you will choose New Measure. Your measure will live in the sales table, and we will use the distinct count function, and we will count distinct values from the order ID, which lives in the sales table. We will need to do the parentheses, check formula, there are no errors. We'll format it as a whole number using 1000 separator, click OK, and now we have total orders. If I remove the filter, I will see all the orders for all the countries. Next, we need to add the total revenue measure. We'll use the only quantitative fields we have in this table, in this data, and these are unit price and the quantity. So we'll give it a name, total revenue, SumX. We'll use the function SumX to calculate the revenue row by row from the sales table and the quantity field or column. And we need to use function related because the unit price is in a different table called products. This is something like lookup. I'm looking up unit price in products table that is related to quantity in sales table. So I will hit products and unit price, two parentheses, check formula, no errors, format as a currency with 0 decimal places, click OK, and you see we have total revenue 18 million. Okay, next we want to look at monthly revenue. You can go to Insert and again click Pivot Table, or you can add a shortcut to Quick Access toolbar like I did. You need to right click and add to Quick Access toolbar. I already did it, so I will click the icon, make sure that I'm using the Workbox data model. Existing worksheet is my destination, that's okay. And I will use the calendar field start of month, place it in the rows. Then I know that I have my total revenue measure in values. I can click and add pivot chart. I will do line chart, place it anywhere in the canvas. Go to pivot chart analyze. I will turn off or hide these buttons. I will also remove the legend. I will give it the name monthly revenue. Okay, this looks fine. I will now add the chart with quantity. So from this table I will actually remove total revenue, total orders, and I will go to pivot table analyze, pivot chart, add bar chart, click OK. I will hide the buttons, remove legend, and rename it. This is quantity. So we have quantity per, or let's say by category. We will sort this table descending based on the quantity so that we have the most quantity on top and the least quantity in the bottom. We can also reverse this chart by right-click the y-axis, format axis, categories in reverse order. We can even remove these axes and add data labels. Okay, we have quantity by category and is sorted from the most quantity to the least quantity. Next, we need to add another pivot table. We'll do the total orders. We'll insert the pivot table from the data model. Again, we'll search for category, place it in the rows, and we'll search for orders. We have the total orders measure, place it there. Again, make sure that we sort descending based on total orders, and we'll include the chart. We'll do the bar chart just like before. I will hide the buttons, remove legend, rename it to orders by category. I can even remove this axis, remove these grid lines, add data labels, and reverse the order. Okay, we have orders by category. One last thing we need to add is the top N cities by revenue. So we'll add another pivot table from data model. I will search for city, add it to rows, and then I will search for revenue. We have total revenue measure. As you can see, I have the table with all the cities in my data set, and I will again sort by total revenue, and then we want to only see the top 10 cities by revenue. So I can go to value filters, and here in the bottom I have top 10, and you can select bottom top, how many items, percent sum by total revenue. I will leave it like this. Top 10, hit OK. So I can see the top 10 cities by revenue. I will add pivot chart. I will do bar chart. Remove or hide the buttons, hide the legend, and I will give it the title cities by revenue. I will remove this axis, grid lines, reverse the order, and also add the data labels. Last thing we need to do is to add slicers. A good practice is to have your pivot tables named. For example, here in pivot table analyze, I can change this name to quantity. Here I will give it the name orders, and here cities, and finally revenue. Now we'll go back to data. We'll search for country, right click and say add slicer. So we have a slicer, but we need to connect the slicer to to the pivot tables. And the way to do it is to right click on the slicer and click Report Connections, and here you will select all the tables that you want to connect to the slicer. Now we are connecting all four, but in case you would like to connect only two of them or one of them, it's very handy to have the tables named, because otherwise you would have to go back and check which table is actually the one that you want to filter. So I'll click OK, and now the slicer is connected, and as soon as I hit France, the data changes. As you can see, I now see quantity only for France. The same with orders and cities. I only see the cities in France in descending order by revenue. I can also have more cities selected simultaneously, and I will have the data for 3 countries. If you want to polish it, you can even hide these tables because we don't need them anymore, and you have a nice report. Hopefully this quick guide was helpful to you. Now you can go on and explore more about these Excel's power tools on your own. Thank you for watching.